Right. So this week we have Ricky Hutchinson from England. Ricky, before we go any further, what do you been to outside of dogs? Just there'll probably be a lot of dog chat here, obviously, but anything
Yeah,
outside it?
outside dogs. Well, I'm the father of four, so being a dad takes up a long time. Um, yeah, a long time. I enjoy breeding sheep. Not very good at it, but I enjoy doing it, and I follow, the breeding quite hard. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I really like cooking. I do a lot of cooking, which may surprise you. And I love listening to loads of music as well. So I do other things, but but most of the time I spend making my wife incredibly happy. That's what I try to do. That's what it's about.
So you must have one of these ones in a foreign country. It's not Meg anyway. The
No,
right.
no,
So
not yet, but she's working on it.
getting there. Right. Tell me, that's saying what age were you when you first started dogs? Who got you into it? I know all this here, but some people don't.
Yeah. Okay. So dogs, sheepdogs have always been around me. So brought up on a farm. My father was always into it, but never really trialed. Would always breed dogs. His dogs were always trained to a decent standard. His uncle was very good. He was national champion and reserve supreme, Harry Huddleston. That was his uncle, and then further more distant relatives are like the Longtons and that. So we're in a position whereby dogs have always been around me. So growing up, my dad used to always have the magazines, and he was into it, even though he didn't actually do much trialing. So it was always there. And then, so yeah, I don't know when I first actually tried to run a dog, but as in at farm, but I started competing in my teens with a dog that wasn't very good, and I was terrible. So it was just carnage. And then I got a little bitch when I left school that was quite good, and that's when I probably started. So yeah, it was around 99, 2000, my first season with her, but I had been doing it for a few years before when I was rubbish, but I got a little bit better with her, and then yeah, that was it.
Got the bug.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
No, Bart. Tell me this: how many times you've been on the team, and how many times you've been in the Supreme?
With the singles, I've been in 15 times, and the Supreme 7.
That's very cool. And the brace, then what about
it? Brace, I've been in that 12 times. Yeah.
That's fair enough. Fair enough. The decent record.
Yeah. My brace record's better than my singles record, really. Yeah, I've run at the brace 14 times, and I've won it 10 and been second twice.
But funny that you're saying you're in the Supreme 7 times. Like you're saying your brace is better than your single record, but like what sweep was reserved at least 2 or 3 times, wasn't it? He was in the top 3, and he was in the top 3 as well.
He was reserved twice for sweep, yeah, and Jock won it, yeah.
And he was third as well, was he not, at a time as well? Sweep?
No, he was third in the world.
The world, so
Jock was fourth as well.
So 3 if you're 7 places, like I've been first and second and all. So
yeah. Just yeah. No,
not a bad strike right there.
Thank you.
But well, what would you say then? What would you say? I'd imagine I know the answer to it. Like, but what would you say is your biggest achievement at the trials?
Yeah, winning the Supreme Jock. Yeah,
that's the
definitely
the one that stands by.
Yeah, definitely.
No, I've said it to you before too. I was never as, I wouldn't say upset, but annoyed. I wouldn't say annoyed, but like I wanted to see Sweet One. And Jock was a classy dog,
yeah.
I was always, I think a lot of people wanted to see because he was always so consistent down the years.
He was, yeah.
And everybody, when that happened, I was like, if only. Having to speak though, but
no, I must admit, I didn't care which one won. I was
no, I'd imagine not.
And to be like, obviously, because I was first and second, and that it was it was a good day. I'll not lie.
It's a good day. That's one of the better days.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
No problem. And tell me this then. There's obviously quite a few you could be picking from. What would you say is the best dog you've had?
Well, it's like obviously it was Jock or Sweep, but I'm not going to say which one because I genuinely I don't know, because Jock died when he was 7, so Sweep really became known by people further afield. He won the national when he was 5.5, and then a year later he ran at the Worlds, and then the year later he got reserve supreme the first time. So that was all like 5.5, 6, 7. You know, when he finally sort of started getting seen.
Yeah.
Jock died just after he was 7, and he won the national, he won the nursery final, he'd won the supreme.
Yeah.
And I genuinely think, because he was they were quite different, although they were similar, they were quite different. And I think because as he aged and with the way I train him and the way I run them, his feel always got better and better. Because, you know, when he was young, he was always exuberant. He always had the ability to put a move in that was, you know, a bit exuberant. But I think for the smaller trials, especially, I think his best years, which hadn't actually come when he died.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'll ever know. So Sweep was more of a trialy dog and could win, or looked more of a trialy dog all the way through. But I think Jock's. Jock won. I think Jock was always a little bit in Sweep's shadow, because he actually won. He won loads, you know, and he could.
Yeah.
I never compared them at the time. Anyway, I would never. If you'd said to me at the time, which one do you prefer, I was as confident with either. And like I say, what would have happened in those last years of Jock if he hadn't died? Who knows? You know, because he would have had obviously COVID hit, but he would have been the captain if the COVID hadn't hit and he hadn't died. If hadn't, but for he would have been the captain for the world trial that year. So he would have had a world trial to have a go, all that sort of stuff. So and people will say Sweep was better, and that's cool. It doesn't worry me what people think, and I'm happy that people think about it. But I genuinely don't know which one was better.
No. You're in a lucky position to have that argument to start with.
I was very lucky. They were, for me, for what I enjoy in dogs, they were good.
Right. So you've had dogs in the Supreme, but you've had other good dogs too. What would you say is your best dog outside of the Empire?
Moya.
So
a little bit. So she was like the next one after those two, and she's probably, a lot of people wouldn't see her at the national for a few reasons. She never got in the team. She won the international brace. She won the national race 4 or 5 times. She won Deer Play twice. She won Berwyn. She won Macclesfield twice. She could eat up double. She was a really good bitch. She won loads, but just at the national never quite happened. And then COVID came, and so when she was young, Jock and Sweet were ahead of her. And then COVID came, so she missed the national. And then when she got to her last national, which was 2 or 3 years ago, her last national for me, I just felt she'd lost a little bit of an edge, and I don't know, that just the last, after I'd run at the national that year, just in the back end, I thought she just lost a little bit. And Brenda Helliwell, who trained her, was really good to let me buy her when she did. And I just said to her, "Oh, do you fancy having a go with Moya again?" And she said, "Yeah." So she's actually still with Brenda, and she ran her at the national last couple of times, and she runs great for her. So, but it turned out I said that she lost a little bit of something. It turned out Brenda found out a couple of years ago she actually had a heart murmur. So I'm assuming that was just affecting the performance.
Playing on her.
It's a shame a lot of people didn't get to see her, because I would put her in a very similar, not as good as Jock and Sweet, but in a very similar place.
Up there.
She could eat up double gathers. Like I say, to win, she ran at Deer Play 4 times, and she was second and first twice in the final. You know, she was. I think she was. I enjoyed her anyway. Yeah.
Oh, it's funny you should say about having the heart murmur there, maybe affecting her, like, because you tend to just take your dog out, don't you, every day, and like as humans, you're not fighting fit every day, and great. Some days you're sick or whatever, but you just sort of expect the dog to go out, don't you, and be perfect every day, like. But it doesn't doesn't work that way, like.
It was just I just found there was something just a touch missing. What's funny is because so I had 3 litters off her, and it was after the 3rd litter that she used to always lose her hair in summer. You know, like in summer she looked like a smooth coated dog, and then winter she got a bit hairy. Probably like some of your birds actually has. And then she never ever lost her hair again after that third litter.
Yes.
And whether it's that caused the heart murmur, I don't know. But anyway, she's running beautiful now. She's whether she's got over it, I don't know. And she's 10 now, so but yeah. And she's got a great partnership with Brenda, so that's cool. But yeah, I would say she was the best behind those two.
It was ballsy selling her to something in England that could have put you to the team some years. So could have.
I didn't sell her. I gave her.
I give her yes.
I gave her. Yeah. But my Jonah dog now's he's a similar type again. Yeah. But Moya probably because she's a bitch, I think as well. Sort of. Don't know. I enjoyed her anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Right. Well, moving on then. What would you rank sort of as the best open courses that you've been to?
Open courses. So like round here, always the one that people wanted to win was Deer Play. You know, that was always like I would have always said that was second to winning nationals, winning Deer Play. It was, you know, it was very traditional trial. It was long, like a bit huge course, but difficult. And I'd heard about Deer Play growing up. You know, people talked about Deer Play, winning Deer Play.
Yeah.
So that was always strong to me. It hasn't been on for a couple of years now, unfortunately. And then I don't know after that really. There's some of these trials that people are doing now with like double gather finals and that they look really good. I just haven't gone to any yet. I judged one day for Johnny and Laura Elkin for their trial, the High Hills. That looks good.
It does look good.
Yeah, I've not actually run it though, but that looks good. And then obviously when you get, I think some opens especially, the clientele who are there make a difference as well, doesn't it? Like if you go and there's a lot of, you know, top handlers, and you sort of think, oh, you know, you can't have a go against them sort of thing.
Yeah.
That maybe makes it as good as anything as well. But yeah, there's some good courses. Some good Megs from East Anglia. There's some good courses down East Anglia, huge fields and that. But the Berwyn Open, the Glyn and Gethin's trial, the final of that, the final is pretty hard. That's pretty hard. It's a big one, is that? It's up a hill and that. It's good fun, is that, just to go and watch, even if not.
Yeah. All right, no. And with regards to the international and Supreme courses, what sort of stood out for you down the years? What would you?
Well, I know which one I enjoyed the most, but I guess so. The first time I went to the Supreme was Armathwaite, as I went to watch, and Mostyn in '95. I remember thinking that was massive, but that was like when I was 1995. So I must have been 3 years old. But it was like that stuck in my head as being really big. But maybe it was, you know, just because it was my first ones.
Yeah.
Just try to think of all the others. That Kilkenny one, that Allard one with Roy, that was maybe a bit narrower than some, but I thought that was good. Just try to think of more really. There's been quite a lot of good courses. The one Allard won at Moffat, that was big.
Aye.
With Cap, that was a big field. The one this year, that looked a good field. Yeah. It'd have been good to have had a go, you know. It was, yeah.
No, the one you were saying about Alad one, like I heard, maybe hearsay, I don't know, but I heard there was talk about being back there again at some point. You know, again, hearsay.
Oh right, yeah. Well,
15 months, but
it was made for it because it was just a huge, big field, and it was, yeah, no, it was big. I remember I went down the night before the Supreme. I had to walk down to the second outrun post. And I went down with I went down with Ian Brownlee, and I remember I turned around and I looked up, and the mark like the grandstand looked
tiny,
absolutely tiny. You know, when you go the other way, and I was like, wow. I don't think I'd ever sent my dog. I mean, I put my dog a long way in the fell, but it's different on a big flat piece with everyone judging you and everything else. And I must admit, I did gulp a little bit. I thought it's a long way, and it was a long way. Yeah.
No, it's funny too. Like they have big courses. Like you get used to run your dog, and say you run big trials, and like we trials over here, like Castle Wellness, 700 yards, whatever. And you sort of just take it for granted your dog does it. When you get them Supremes like that, like I go to what? Well, I'm only watching it so far anyway. Like you can't help but think like how unreal the dogs actually are. To get to that level, like it is. I know
Yeah.
you get used to having them, you take it for granted, but like when you
Yeah.
sit back and think about it, like that's some
I
some
think,
scope for a dog to do. Like
yeah, I totally agree with that, and I think that's a big difference. It's a difference that amazes me about what we do compared to other dog disciplines. So if you think of like obedience or agility or dancing dog, anything with dog, generally the handler's there with the dog, aren't they?
yeah,
They're helping the dog and they're going through it. Like we're saying, do that type of precision, but half a mile away.
aye,
You know what I mean? And then when you're there, not only do you do the precision, but sometimes you've got to think for yourself. And sometimes you've got to have the brain to do it properly. But
yeah,
then if I start telling you, you've got to do that as they are pretty incredible animals when you think about it, you know what I mean?
yeah,
And it's funny because when you meet people who come from an agility background, often doing lessons and stuff, often people from an agility background want to go and show their dog where to go almost, a little bit like a bit, and often it's retraining how you train, because we can do everything with going against us, don't we, with a bit of balance and things, and using ourselves to
yeah.
use pressure to push them out. Whether with them, obviously, it's a lot of it's going, no, come with me, Bobby, and I'll put you through this tunnel or whatever. And it's quite a different kind of.
And you're directing it yourself.
Yeah.
Like
And
yeah.
it's weird because you proper see it when people come from an agility background or an obedience background, that it is very much with the handler and doing it. Whereas ours is like, oh, go and do it on your own. And yeah, it's amazing, really.
No, it's funny because there's a fella I work with there, and I say one of the top Labrador men. Like there's been for a long, long time, like in the UK or whatever, and it always keep me going because you've listened to videos there of the sheepdog trials, and he says, listen to that noise, all them boys roaring and shouting. He says like you wouldn't get that in the gun dogs, like you'd be put off straight away, too much noise.
Yeah.
He said, that's all right. I said, you're saying your dog in a straight line where you're directing it in a straight line to lift a pheasant that's dead, that's not moving.
Yeah.
I says, them boys are trying to bring sheep that
Yeah.
at any minute there's 4 or 5 of them. One could dart this way, one could dart that way. I said, it's alright, but nice and quiet whenever you're saying something to lift a dead animal lying in the, lying halfway up the field. I know there's obviously more to it than that, but like
no, but I know what you mean. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah.
He's sending the dog up to lift something that's lying there.
Yeah.
If that was as easy as the sheepdogs, like there's a lot of good handlers, like, but
Well, you see, with my dogs, they're lying there when they're finished.
KO'd.
Yeah.
No, Bart. Well, tell me, then, what sort of you see there, especially in the Supreme, there's different handlers, have different styles of working dogs. Don't want to put words into your mouth, like, but I would always watch your hand and always think to myself, like, it's very like it looks like you're just going out to the, as you said, out to the fell just to work. There it just looks like a workman like run. It looks like your dogs are proper work dogs. Like
look hard work, yeah.
Mongrels just they look like a proper. It looks like they could go and do a day's work. Whereas there's some dogs there you're maybe thinking to yourself, yeah, it looks lovely and it's nice, whatever. But I wonder if it maybe could do a big day's work.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
But what would you class what would you say your handling is like? What way would you describe it?
I don't know really. I think it's probably quite hard to describe really. Like just going, I don't know. It's probably easier for someone else to watch someone on run, because when you're doing it, you're just doing it, aren't you? I don't know really.
Would you put an emphasis on being quiet, or are you even a wee bit more vocal out there, or what way? Like there's some handlers there you barely even hear them at the post. They're just
I don't know really. No, I think I'm probably just a bit normal. I don't know really, a bit middle of the road really. I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm particularly loud, but sometimes you have to be. But probably with me, if you can hear me being loud, something's going wrong, or the training
about to,
or about to, exactly. Yeah. No, I don't really know what to describe myself as a handler. Really, I don't know. It's a tricky question. I'm a short handler.
No,
I'm a short handler.
I find at the trials there even too, like uh you hear about people talking about, keeping a horse in check, just let them know you're there. And
Yes.
you can see that with the dogs. Sometimes just a wee noise or maybe a rough voice or now and again, just to let them know here
Yeah.
I'm watching you, like, just
Yeah.
don't take
Yeah.
the hand here. But
No,
what
definitely like running Jock. I used to always have to go, you. I used to say you. And he's like, oh yeah. Not because he was going to do
I,
it, but he might just put a move in like, come on, let's do this last week. And he just put a
I,
tight move in and get everything going fast because he like things to be rolling. But we sweep, I don't ever nearly needed to, just slightly different horses for courses there. But yeah.
funny, my Nan and Murray, you don't really uh you just sort of let him go on himself. Whereas Nan, she hasn't done anything, but you're doing that. You're saying you're
Yeah, yeah.
anticipating her doing it because at any minute there's just a wee thing she could do that
It's
would.
it's it's almost like sometimes, yeah. It's like it's like if you were your kids and you're walking along and there's a toy or something in the supermarket and you can see
Yeah.
the kid's going to go for that toy, like, come here, and they haven't even moved, but they're going to go for that toy. It's a bit like the kids, like, your train of thought, don't think about doing that.
No, it's like, well, that Nan of mine, I trust her, but I wouldn't want to put money on it for trusting her.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. The well then, what type of dogs? Do you? What type? What sort of dogs do you like to go for? Like, what's your style of a dog?
I like dogs which hold themselves well. Like people say classy, but a dog that holds itself well. I like them to be quite athletic. Not necessarily the fastest, but to have the ability to move quickly in different ways. Like some dogs are a little heavy. Like some dogs are heavy in the front ends, you know what I mean? And can struggle to get that subtlety of move. Because I like to see a dog which can do, like move subtly. Yeah, so but the big thing I want is a dog which has an honesty about it. I would rather a dog which tries really hard, which is less talented, than maybe a dog which is really good but hasn't got that bit that gives me. Because it's like I had a dog a few years ago as an example, and he was really talented. He was a really talented dog. But at lambing time, if sheep ran at him, he'd take him on the nose and he was really good. If they ran at him again, he'd do it again. But the third time, he wouldn't bother, and he was like, "Oh, I can't do it." And it was a little, and it wasn't just with that. It was his attitude was the same throughout. If you blew him on an outrun, if you're doing like some gathering on the fell, the first 2 or 3 he'd take great, and then he'd just turn around and look at you. It was almost like he didn't quite have the desire and that thing about helping. And I'd rather a dog which is working for me and trying hard, and you can forgive a lot when they're trying for you. That's my feeling anyway. But I like a dog which is happy to have a fight with a sheep if it doesn't want to come, but in a clean way. I don't like dirtiness. I like a dog which is honest. That's my way I'd describe it as anyway.
Self-defense, that's the way I would say, like a
self-defense, standing there, but also if you have to egg them on and say, come on, now's the time, we're gonna have to do something, they don't mind. I want it to be the front end, not going in for one at the back and that type of thing. That's my feeling on it anyway.
Yeah, no, funny what you're saying about dog coming from the back there. There's a wee dog I had on for training for a farmer. Like, I was trying to explain to him about his dog. He thought his dog was, loaded with purr and all because he was gripping. And, but whenever he come in, he'd been gripping or whatever. And I says, no, I said, he doesn't purr. I said, if he was a person, I says, he'd be the fella that would come running from behind, maybe, and hit somebody across the face and then run off again. I says, there's like a sneakiness in his grip. He wasn't a dog that was looking to.
It's a bit like them little fellas who start fights and then big fellas to go for them. And obviously I couldn't comment on things.
No. But I know after was there's like a wee slickedness.
I know, yeah, absolutely. And then in a similar thing, like I like dogs which are, nice to deal with around the yard, nice in the kennel. I'm not a big fan of. It tends to. I always think it comes out somewhere. If you've got a dog which is like spinning its kennel and barking a lot, that erraticness tends to come out somewhere. That's my feeling on it anyway.
Yeah.
I like them to be sort of nice to. The thing is that when I've got a dog which is one of my main dogs, I call them an open dog or whatever, the dog I spend a long time with them when I'm working, especially at lambing time, because we lamb everything outside and I use the dogs all the time. We catch every sheep, we tag all the lambs, etc. You're spending a lot of time with them, and it's like I want to be able to rely on them. You know what I mean? And I find that type of dog it works for me anyway.
Yeah. Right. The dog gives you us all, whether he's a superstar or not. Like
absolutely, yeah.
No bar. So when it comes to judging, again, it's the same question I ask every week. Like, but obviously you want to see the perfect run or whatever. But is there anything whenever you're judging in particular you think that's something that maybe you see in other trials, maybe where it isn't done right, that you say, right, I'm in the box today, it is going to be done right? Like, is there anything in particular?
I guess I think I would probably be known for being a little stringent on how shedding and singling is done.
Yeah.
But that isn't, as I see it, that isn't something I think. That is something which the rules state.
Yeah.
The rules state it's the dog's ability to shed the sheep. That's in the rules. It's not, the dog's ability to come in as an afterthought when the sheep's already gone. So I do try to keep all my judging to what the rules state. But I think we're judging as well. One thing which often happens, and is easy to happen, is that something happens, and if you wrote it on a post on Facebook as an example, and you said, Adam, oh, I was at a trial today and I came down the fetch all right, but I just slipped the fetch, but then it was a really good run, and the judge had 8 off my fetch, let's say.
Yeah.
But then the next man, let's say it was me judging, all right, and you said, oh, Ricky was judging, and he had 8 off my fetch. But then the next man ran, and he only had 7 off his fetch, but he missed it. All you're hearing there is the 2D kind of explanation. Whereas if you asked me and I said, yeah, but the reason you missed it was because your dog gave a silly wide move.
Yeah.
Whereas he missed it because they flicked round it. So it's more than just looking at. You've got to be understanding of why things happen as well. I mean, that was just a little example. Maybe it's not the world's best example.
You're reading the sheep, the dog, and the handler.
Absolutely, and the rules state you do that. The rules state that you do that, and I think it's important that we kind of look for how the dog's working. As you know, yes, don't get me wrong. The lines, tight turns, all that is totally important. But there's other little detail. I'm not saying they're going to make 20 points difference, but they might make a point different here and a point different there. Yeah. And they need to, because the dog, the idea of trials is to bring out the best dog, isn't it? To show which dog works the best. And it's not, it's about, don't get me wrong, it is about having as straight lines as you can, hitting the gates, and you're losing points for the not right. But it's also the little bits of why, why did that do that? And I had a big discussion with, I won't say it was because it's not for me to say who I was talking to, but it not a bad conversation anyway. But we're talking about a turn at a gate, and the dog had a really good turn at the driveway gate, and they were running down the hill, and it was a great turn, and the dog put quite a tight move in to turn them. It was like inside the hurdles, and he was taking points off for the dog being tight, and I was complaining. I said, well, not because surely the dog had to be tight. Because if the dog had been wide with the sheep, all the sheep running down that field. And it was one of those conversations whereby I was sort of like, we were just discussing it. It was a really nice conversation. And he was saying he was only taking a point because the dog was tight, because the turn was really good.
Yeah.
And with hindsight after, I actually started to agree with him, because I thought, yes, the dog was tight. However, if the dog had gone wide, he would have had to lose 3. You know what I mean? Because the turn was wrong, and if the dog had gone really wide because of it. So there is the ability to leave room for something doing it slightly better, but yet also giving it, this type dog we're talking about, we're still giving him the points ahead of the one that didn't do it correct.
Yeah. Rewarding it, but leaving room for perfection.
Yeah. But on the other hand, if you're too hard on everything, you end up with nobody on with any points. It's such a balance, and it's understanding within that first run or two what the sheep are going to be like, and having a feel for what the trial's like to make sure you get them all in the right order. But the thing is about judging is that I am really tired at the end of the days when I'm judging, because you've got to give everybody exactly the same time and concentration. Because if you are looking for the little details I've just talked about, if you're looking for that, you have to concentrate the whole time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In answer to your actual question, I think I'm probably more stringent than some people might think on sheds and singles and things.
Yeah.
But I think within reason, I just judge to the rules. That's my job as a judge, as I see anyway.
Yeah, no, I obey myself. Like I mean, him and judging sheds and singles had to be done right. And I always say to people, it doesn't necessarily mean my dogs are good shed or singles, but I like to see it done. I still, if somebody wants to give me the points for a middling shed, I'm happy enough to take them. But if I'm judging and I see a middling shed or single, like I'll nail it. Like it has to be.
Well, it might surprise you then that I actually take quite a lot of points off outruns. Well, considering I'm known for any dogs that are shit outruns, it might surprise you, but yeah, no, I do know what's correct.
All right, and funny you're saying there, but even that judging that, you have to take things into account. Like the amount of people you'd even like, there's good handlers out there, like real good handlers, and you say to them about judging, and I don't know whether it's a genuine, valid reason or it's just an excuse not to do it. But no, I couldn't judge. I wouldn't know what I'm doing. You're thinking, well, you're winning open trials there and you're in the top 6, most weeks. Like you're burning a fair idea how to bloody judge it. If you know how to run it, you're burning a fair idea how to judge it. But you think then is there maybe a need for maybe more judging seminars or something like that? Or because it's hard to get. I don't know, it's like you, but it's hard to get judges like over this way.
I think it's to be fair, we're not too bad, but it's like you get to the end of a trial and sometimes people feel that the judge hasn't got it in the right order. It happens.
Yeah.
It happens every week. Of course it does. But I think that people who say, "Oh, I wouldn't know what to do," I think it's probably quite an easy little excuse to.
Yeah.
I'd rather run my dog. And I'd say something else. There's nothing easier than making enemies by accident because they don't like how you've judged. But if and you have to stand by your opinion, and it's one thing I've talked a lot with a few friends about judging, in that over time, the unwritten rule or the written rule even is that you never question a judge. I would, as a judge myself, and being relatively confident in what I'm doing, I'm not going to say I'm good. I'm just saying I'm relatively confident in what I'm doing. I would much rather someone who has a grievance with my judging comes and asks me. Says, not in a but in a like imagine like
a respectful way.
Yeah, imagine what I said on that fetch. If you'd come up to me and you said, how come I was second? I missed the fetch and he missed his fetch. You got 8 off mine and I got 7 off. He's got 7. And I said, that's cool, lad. But genuinely, I just thought your dog gave a bit of a wide room. And then you went, oh, yeah, fair play. All of a sudden, rather than it feeling personal, if I told you why, now you don't even have to agree with me. But if I could tell, if I can remember, I mean, sometimes you can't remember what's going on. But if you came up to me or anybody came up to me and said, oh, I thought you were a bit harsh there, or I thought you got that wrong. And I said, well, this is how I did it. And they went, oh, I still think you're wrong. I'd go, fair play. You know what I mean? Because it's opinion. But you could also go, oh, yeah, I can see what you mean, actually. Yeah, fair play. And then all of a sudden, rather than this feeling of, oh, they've done me, or this person's done me. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure that happens. But I don't think it's very regular, but I do think it can happen. But if someone can come up to me, that's with me at having judged a lot and being relatively confident in what I'm going to tell them. Like I've got plenty of mates around here which might surprise you. Well, they say they're my mates, probably not. But I've got plenty of people I talk to around here who I would be quite happy because I'm confident in my relationship with them to say, oh, how come thingy? How come Adam Porter was third? And think of another name. Conor McGarry was second, or something, just as a and if they said to me, oh, well, I thought that and that, and I went, oh, if I didn't agree with him, it wouldn't bother me telling them I didn't quite agree with him, but it wouldn't because I've got that, and I just think that sometimes with this always feeling of you can never question a judge. Sure, that is definitely the correct.
There's a way of doing
start from.
Yeah,
I think there needs to be. I don't think there's an issue really. And I think it can make less issues if you do have a bit of a conversation sometimes with someone, and But when we're at trial, you say about a judging seminar. Well, we do. There have been judging seminars around and about. I've been to the odd one and that, and they're good. But having good in-depth chats with people when you're watching trials is as good as a seminar. If I'm stood at a trial and I'm with, let's say we're at Macclesfield trial and there's James Dumbleton, Adam Ledger, Michael, and Meg, and we're all stood there, and someone goes on the run, and we'll go, "Oh, what would you do with that?" That's like a common phrase. "Oh, what would you do with that?" You know what I mean? And we'd all discuss it, and we'd all decide that the judge was wrong. We'd all come, but it's a way of, because I'm never always right. It's like I was talking about that thing earlier when I was standing with that person disagreeing with him. But with hindsight, I thought, he's got a point. You've got to take that on board. I judged the American National years ago with Georgie Gardner, and that was a great experience. So I judged with George Gardner, and I judged the final with George Gardner and Derek Scrimmager and Bruce Foggart. And George Gardner, I did the nurseries with him, and he had a brilliant system. George, he's just got like a shearing counter, so he has a scribe, and then as the outrun goes, you can just hear his clicker going. Yes, it shows it to the scribe, and he just judges like that. He doesn't kind of, and he just shows it to scribe how many he's taken off, and I'd be sat there going, like there'd be something going on the cross drive, and I'd be thinking, "Oof, I don't like this. I wonder what George thinks." Near this. No, George doesn't like it either. That smoke coming off his counter. But he was a brilliant judge, because he said to me, and it's lasted with me. He said every time the dog goes to the post, he's expecting a good run. You know what I mean? He wants a good run, because he says like, "Oh, I want it to be good." I'm on their side, and it's easy as a judge to sit there and be one of these sour judges who, "Oh, this is rubbish, take points off." But if you're in that opinion of you're on the dog's side, then he said, if the dog does something particularly wrong that I think shows the dog's bad, not just be on its side as much. But he said, "But I'm always on its side when it goes out. I want to see a good run." And I thought that was really good guidance.
Positive judgment, not our negative.
Yeah, and Scrimmager said to me, it wasn't actually why we were judging. I think it was like in between, we're just chatting about stuff. And he said, someone else had said to him, I think. But anyway, he said to me, the only problem when we're talking about holding singles and holding sheds, and he said making people hold a shed or a single a bit longer is only a problem for those who can't.
Yeah,
you're right. You're right, because sometimes as a judge, you make them hold it a bit longer, and then you can see what's going to happen. There's going to be a bit, and that's for your opinion. That's for your time to go, "That's okay, that's fine, I've seen enough." But the ones that jib, or the ones that fly in and grip, or that, if you leave it a bit longer, you give them the time to see it. And he said to me, it's going to be a problem for the ones who can't. And I thought, that's really clever.
Give them time to make a whole, off it themselves. Yeah, no, fair enough. Well, tell me, I was saying, is there any changes you'd make at the trials yourself? Is there, with regards to the way, maybe say a national rivers ran or an international, is there any changes you'd make to it? There's people that have said before, again, I'll put words in your mouth, but people have said before, maybe like a green light or a red light, so you have a quick, the way sometimes if a shed's not been taken, you have to maybe wait 20 seconds or separate boxes.
Well, at the English National, we started using a buzzer. So both judges had to press the button, or maybe it was one judge, I don't know. But rather than conversing through the course director, it was a buzzer. That was pretty cool. I think trialing itself, I think the system that the guys who made this game we do 100 years ago, it was very clever, because I think they've accounted the points excellently. Where they've put the points on the course it's like the single. You're working 15 minutes. Now you're tired. Now show me what you've got. Hold one away from the others. I think they were really clever. My question now is, with it going, especially a lot of the running is very professional right now.
Yeah.
My question would be the allocation of points in the Supreme. As an example, there's 20 for both fetches. Well, one fetch is literally halfway down the field, and the second fetch is the same distance, then all the way to the handler's feet, then reuniting the sheep even, then the start of the turn. and all of a sudden they're both the same kind of points. I think maybe that it wouldn't, and also I think the turn back element. I think it is probably time that there is an element for the actual turn back, because, well, as I see it, when you tell a dog to turn back, the dog should turn and go. It's one of the commands. It's a bit like missing a shed. You take half the points off if you don't do it. So if you're turning the dog back and it sets up, it comes back again. Not many people would take half those points off, and I don't think I would take half off. But all of a sudden you're eating a lot. If you don't like how a dog turns back and you're getting to 5 or 6 points off for the first 10 yards and it's an 800-yard outrun and the rest is perfect.
Yeah.
He's not far enough ahead of the person who sets off well and has to blow it 10 times. Maybe we're getting to the point whereby there should be an allocated, maybe a 10 points or a 5 points for the turn back. And then, but it wants cleverer people than me to think about these things. But they're just maybe ideas, yeah. Even the international shed, there's 20 points. People are very technical now about what goes on, and rightly so. But people are like, oh, did that sheep go that way? Or did that sheep go that way? And then there's only 20 to play with, and you've got 20 sheds, or 15 possible sheds with 15 sheep to get off. All of a sudden, maybe there should be a few more points on there. I don't know. That's just my It's like, it's weird because you put these sheep on a far bigger course and more sheep, and all you do is put 10 more points on the drive. Whereas the fetches are exactly the same thing. I don't know. It's maybe worth thinking about. But
No, funny. I would agree with you there. To be honest,
steady, Adam. Steady. It's not a good place to be.
No, I would agree with you. To be fair, like as you say, like the Supreme's not normal course. It's just a completely different thing. It's like Formula One, like racing against go-karts. Like it's completely different. Like,
well, I know that a lot of the bigger double gathering. Well, I'll talk about deer play because it's one I know. Very rarely would someone just have 20 points on the outrun. Yeah. Even in the qualifier. I think I've judged it a few times. I think I've always got 30, if not even 40. So and I know you can take on the Supreme, you can take half points instead. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But to make up for whistles, but the rules state you should take a point off and things. So before you know it, you can have a dog go on a pretty good line, 5 whistles, it's got half its outrun off.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, it's maybe worth thinking about at some point.
Yeah. I had a discussion anyway, at least. Yeah. No, fair enough. Breed or buy? What is you don't really care, would you, either way? Or
no, I really don't mind. I think good ones are quite like the type I like are not dead easy to find. So I'm a bit lucky in that we've got this line which tends to produce what I like. So I tend to have stud pups on, but I never discount going and buying something that I think I would love to be able to buy, like a stud dog, which is not related to mine, because just something to put back in our bitches and things. But we try a foreign pup every now and then, like a different pup with different breeding, something that we like. And then I've bought loads of dogs that are not related and stuff as well. Just I end up with, so for the last few years I've ended up with stuff which is related to my stuff. But I don't mind if the dog's bitches, tricoloured. I don't mind. It's not that aspect I look for. I want to, I don't mind if I buy them on my breed, but I just try and find one that I like.
No, funny enough, I was actually thinking you were saying about it's hard to find some without your breeding. I was actually thinking this even about my own.
Yeah.
I think like I could be maybe like 70-80% of mine actually, if you look back. The grandfather at least is like say Murray, for example, like he'd be Sweep was his grandfather, like
is he grandfather? Is he a bit line?
I think so. He's Ola, isn't he? And then Ola was there to Sweep.
Yeah, Ola was a Sweep. Yeah, and then what's his mother? Nessie, no.
Yeah, Mahler's Nessie,
and she was Jock's sister.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he's line bred. Yeah.
Line bred, but the.
Well, so was I, and I should be 6'3".
What was it they say? If it works, it's line breeding. If it doesn't, it's inbreeding. No, I was thinking even my own there. Like I was saying earlier on, of like 3 wee Jonas there. I've just got there recently. But I would say 70-80% of mine would be going back to your breeding. At least it's very hard to find a lot of dogs out there now that maybe don't have sweep going back in their
Yeah.
breed.
There's still there's loads, but yeah,
Yeah.
I think that it's not a surprise, is it, though, that when a handler has a dog which does well for them, that they tend to stick with him.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
if you look at all the good handlers you've talked to recently, obviously that's the thing. We've got Allard's line is Allard's line big time, isn't it? And he's stuck to it, and he's done some real clever line breeding, bits and pieces of breeding, so they're related. And you can see an Allard dog, you can nearly pick them, can't you? And then like James has got Becker and Silver, and now his young dogs there, all it and that. Rob Ellis has got old Merc in him all, hasn't he? And it's funny how, like, it's not a big surprise that a handler finds something that works for them. They're going to kind of stick to it. So,
and if you swap them dogs to another handler, they could think they're just middling sorts of dogs, but they suit certain handlers. Like
absolutely. Like if you think of some of the great dogs we've seen over the years, you know what I mean? Like would Key have been the same if I'd had her?
Yeah.
Would Key have been the same if Allard have had her? Well, to be fair, Key's not a great example because I think she was a great bitch. But if you think, let's say my sweep, if my sweep had gone to Allard, would he have liked Allard's training? I don't know. Well, you see, Sweep was 18 months old when I got him, so would he have liked my training originally? I don't know. And it's just it's just funny. There's environmental stuff as well as
there's a lot of factors to take into it.
Absolutely, totally,
yeah. No bar. And then tell me this: how many roughly would you work with in a year? So like if you're buying on pups or keeping stud pups, would you in a year? Now, I suppose you and Megan are working together or whatever, but like, would you say in your head have like, right, there was 20 pups that year and I just picked through them, or would you work with more or less? Or
we won't take 20 now, not puppies, no. I would imagine. Well, at the moment we've got. I'll tell you what we've got at the moment. We're just having to go with them today. So under a year old, I think we've got 6. They're under a year old, 7.
And have you wheedled that down a bit? Was there more? Was there maybe 10 or something?
Not that are under a year old, I don't think. No. Maybe no, it might be 8. But that's they're under a year old now. So right, let's say as an average we're taking. I don't think we'll take 10. I don't think we take one new pup a month. I don't think we do take that many. Let's say we take 8. Let's say we take 8 pups.
Yeah.
That sounds quite a lot, actually, to be fair. But we might have a litter a year ourselves and keep a couple. But let's say 8. But that's between 2 pups, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. You sort of do need a few.
I might see a young dog and buy it in as well, so they're onto it as well. So
yeah,
I like to think that we between us we usually have about 25 dogs between us.
Because it is, whether people want to admit it or not, it is a numbers game. Like it's like if you're trying to pick a football team out of where you live there, the Littledale area, or you go down into Manchester, like Manchester should be Littledale. Area over and over. Like it's a numbers game too. Like if you're choosing from 2 pups a year, or you're choosing from 12 a year, like there's a big difference there. Like you're giving yourself a lot more.
I think you're right, but I'm not certain that, like you see someone who maybe has 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 dogs.
Yeah,
they often seem to get a lot out of that one extra one they have, don't they? Because they've got a lot more time with it. You know what I mean? It is a numbers game, but I think at some point it can just tip over the edge whereby there's too many and they're not getting the attention they need as well.
It's a numbers game to find the right one, but once you have the right one, you nearly need to just jack the rest away.
You've got to kiss a lot of frogs to find the prince, as my wife found out.
I'll not say anything. I don't want to think. That's okay. Well, tell me this then. Best advice for newcomers, what would be? And don't give me just a normal. Give me a good answer.
Give it a good answer.
A good answer. Like people always say, stick at it. But
yeah. The best thing I can say is get a good stop on your dog.
Yeah.
Just make sure your dog stop, because we've got a lass comes at the moment. She's been coming for about a year. She got really friendly with Meg, and she's a lovely girl. And she's just literally coming to it. She's a farmer from over the Dale. She's got a nice little dog there. And I drummed it into it at the start. Just make sure it stops. Because if you can't stop a dog, everything else is harder work. So if you can stop a dog, you can affect what it is doing. You know what I mean? If it's tight, you can stop it when it's tight and deal with it.
Yeah.
If it's too pushy, you can stop it and make it come slower, or stop it again until it does come slower. All those, if you and I don't mean a stop I mean a stop which is part of working, like a really good natural, well, not natural, but feels natural, a stop which is part of working that you can then work away with. Because like on clinics, a lot of the time you end up going to just addressing the stop. Like if you've got a tight flank, as an example, and you're going, how are you gonna change the shape of that flank a little bit? Well, what I'm going to do is, as it's doing it, I'm going to stop it, and then I'm going to. If I can't stop it, or you're having to fight to stop it, by the time you stopped it, the moment's gone, because it's cutting in, the sheep have gone and everything. So, and if you can stop a dog, especially when you're first starting, if you can stop it, it gives you time. It gives you time to see everything. There's a little book, Tony Eiley years ago wrote a little book called I think it's called One Man's Way or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. It's a little green book. It's a brilliant book. And in there, I read it loads when I was young. And in there, I think he says something along the lines of, a stop is more important than a recall. And I read it a bit like, well, surely, but then I understood what I meant. It's like, yeah, you can call your dog off, but sometimes calling it off might make more of a mess.
Yeah.
But if you can stop it and keep it stopped, you can figure it out. And yeah, that's brilliant. It's brilliant advice.
Oh, well, that's the advice. How would you go about that advice then? When would you start, and what sort of age would you be? Because I've been discussing this with you obviously previously, and you were saying, don't go overboard on it either. Like there's a happy medium.
Yeah. That's probably where I mean by make it like a part of work. I think the type of dog I like has a little bit of eye and has quite a lot of balance, and he's looking for the point. So I use that point when they're young, when it's natural for them to stop. I use that a lot to get a stop on them. And then as you ask them to stop, so yeah, but if I've got a dog which isn't stopping on a clinic and that, I put a line on them. I take the fight out of them. I'm not going to argue with them. I put a line on them and I make them stop.
Yeah.
Because I don't want the stop position to be a position whereby the dog feels it's in trouble. It's quite easy to use aggression and force from you to make a dog stop, and then the dog stops, it's feeling a bit under pressure, and then you move it, it's like, oh, thank God I don't have to do that again. But I want the stop to be a place whereby they're happy to be. So I don't want to fight with them. That's why I put a line on them and stop them. But I try to get it on them early, just get a nice. But I think it's quite key that when you get a stop on them early, you stop, move. Do you know what I mean? So the stop isn't a place for frustration, isn't a place for, oh, I need to go. It's a place which is stop and then go again. So it becomes
part of work.
Absolutely. Yeah. I want it to be part of work. So if you say lie down, it's as easy to take as come by or away or walk on. It's part of it. Yeah, that's my feeling on it anyway.
A lot of it, like I find, like a lot of it's more so getting into the dog's head. Even it's like psychology. A lot of the dogs, psychology almost is letting the dog know, like, which we just discussed there. Like stop means just sit there a second, but you're going to go again. It doesn't mean the whole fun's over. Like, and some people bring dogs into me, whatever, for training, and you try and explain that to farmers, like you're needing the dog to have the penny drop, which sometimes takes a long time for someone, but the penny has to drop with them. That like this stop doesn't mean the game's over. Like it just means,
it's
but
part of work, yeah.
But it's just obviously,
and it's really easy when you've got a dog which doesn't stop. And I've seen this loads, like when it. Like the dog finally, like you lie down, you get him out of it, and it finally lies down, and then you go, yeah, lie down, and you give it a bollocking when it's led down, and the dog, I knew I didn't want to lie down. I'm not going to do next time. You know what I mean? It's easy to make that position somewhere whether it should be like lie down, right now go again. But it's easy to take our frustrations out on a minute. Don't get me wrong, I do it all the time, but it's easy to do that, and it probably causes issues with the stop and that's my anyway. Like certainly, like as you mature as a handler, as you get used to more, you can get away without dogs which don't stop because at some point you're going to put some pressure on and get the stop. But definitely talking about new handlers, get a good start.
Yeah, stop. No problem. Funny, I thought the probably better fish you could have give there was, buy a dog off you, but you missed yourself an opportunity there.
Well, I would have done, but I said they needed a good stop, so I don't want to sell them down the river.
Not funny enough, there's a boy or two that probably would be the face who would buy one off there.
Yeah, well, I'm sure. Yeah. No, I'd say don't buy one for me. Meg's got one.
Oh well, she handles the accounts. Right. Well, tell me this then. 3, you're about long enough now, so I can ask you the past and present question. 3 handlers in the past stand out to you.
Ooh, in the past.
You're in that bracket now where you're
you're
a young handler, but you're still an old handler.
Actually. Yeah, I don't think I am. I'm not even taking the mick. I don't think I'm quite. I think most of the ones, other than Johnny Wilson, I think most of the ones who I think most of the ones who I've sort of known and been able to appreciate, other than Johnny, I think would all be. I think I'm probably missing out somewhere.
Still on the go.
Definitely, Johnny Wilson was really good. I saw him in the Supreme twice, and he won it and got second. He was lovely, quiet, flowing way with his dog. His shedding was beautiful. Probably like John Thomas. I know he's gone now. I never really saw him in his pomp. I think it's probably safe to say like Jim Crop now. It's called Jim Crop, an old one. He was a master. When I first started properly, he was a master. He just knew where to have. He ran them dogs, Sid and Alf and Dan, and these dogs with big smooth moves, and he had a flow. And I would have said that. So when he was running like around that 2000, he would just about getting Sid then, and he was really good, and he was winning most trials in the set. He won loads, and it probably the way he ran them would have an impact on how I saw it. But round here there's some good one. I mean, Timothy Longton, I probably he's an old handler now because sadly we lost him last summer. Tremendous. So I'll call him. So there's we'll go with those 3. I think that's fair.
No, and see that's you're saying about Johnny Wilson, for example, there passed away, and Longton there, whatever too.
Yeah.
For a lot of new handlers coming now in years to come, or even starting out now, I think that's the good thing about the next of these chats we're doing here on YouTube. In years to come, say something was to happen new tomorrow or whatever, at least people can look back on YouTube and they can see chats, I guess, or they can watch your dogs. People explain to you these handlers from the 70s and 80s, but there's no real footage.
No, yeah.
Whereas now you have footage on YouTube or whatever, runs at internationals that you can put people say to me, say for example, like Bobby Dale's Whisper or whatever.
Yeah.
You can see footage and all there from maybe
but it's not great quality.
No, it's not great. But
at least you can put
a bit of.
I would love to see him.
At least you can put a bit of a picture to what you see. So
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, and I think probably those 3. You'll definitely be able to see him running dogs on YouTube. But it's probably like interviews or talk with chats like this or whatever. Yeah, it'd be like I can't remember. I've seen Austin Bennett did them not Away We Dog, what they call it. Do you remember in the old ISTS magazines he did interviews?
Yes.
And then he brought a book out. Some of those interviews are really good. Yeah, he had some really good questions which were interesting to read. Yeah, but Jim definitely did one. I don't think Timothy did actually. But Tim was a fantastic handler. His timing was great, and and he'd have a big impact on my handling as well with Tim, because obviously he's Michael's dad, and Michael's one of my best mates. So he's always been a presence until this year, obviously, and he was the sort of guy that would his compliments were rare, but he meant them. And if he gave you a compliment, it proper meant something. And he did. It wasn't like he would never give me. He did, but he didn't just
throw them about,
scatter them out. No, and So yeah, they're the
Yeah, no bother. And then, right, so that was handlers in the past. So what dogs would you say maybe in the past, maybe not, so early 2000s onwards,
yeah.
or prior to the early 2000s, any dogs, three dogs that would stand out?
Yeah. When I first started running, Allard had that first Roy, the Black Roy.
Yeah.
200 199, his reg number. He was, yeah, he left an impact on me then. I thought he was a great dog. And I really enjoyed watching, well, Johnny Wilson's maid. Yeah, that was a bitch. But I didn't see her loads, but I saw like, what was Nigel's bitch that he ran a lot back then? That was a Peg.
Loss or
Peg, no, Peg.
Peg?
Peg. Yeah, she was a good bitch. And then, I'm trying to think like 2000. I'm just trying to remember sort of. Oh, I'll tell you what, dog, that Dunedin Gem. Do you remember
Yes.
that Dunedin Gem?
Yeah.
Jeepers, he looked a nice dog. And he'd sort of feature, but maybe not just. I remember at Armathwaite in 2000 at the International, he went out and he did the first outrun lift and fetch easy because the sheep were heavy. And it was a really tricky course. And he brought him down easy and he turned him back and he set off like a rocket and jumped straight off at Wallington next field and got disqualified. And he was doing it. I can just remember that. I remember, a big tricoloured dog. He was a dog, as I remember, was one we thought of, yeah.
I think he bred quite well too. I think was it maybe his initial offspring I think it was his grandchildren were more, it's nearly skipped a generation from what I've been told anyway. I could be wrong, but it seemed to nearly skip a generation. But all the grandchildren often were just like there's a lot of dogs out there. I think over this way anyway that were reaching national level. Like.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were the ones just on the hoof, sort of thinking about it. They were the ones I remember. I think. Yeah.
Well, on to the present then. What sort of three handlers the present day would stand out to you? What if you're in the beer tent or whatever there, what would you be trying to get out to go see?
Well, the two names that just trip off the tongue are Kevin and Alice. They just come. You sort of say them and then start thinking everybody else, don't you?
Yeah.
In a way. I mean, like Kev's ability to leave no stone unturned in his preparation is excellent. I can remember when he won the Supreme at Kinmel the first time he ran it, and with his Merc dog, and in the qualifier he set off and he was maybe a touch wide on his outrun or something, and he gave it a little toot in and he took it perfectly. And then he went out to the Supreme and it was maybe a touch tight and he gave it two out and he took it perfectly. And that's a tiny little example, but that sums him up. His dogs are tremendously trained and he understands sheep tremendously. And so, and then Allard is fabulous. He has his way. He's good to watch. And when it goes well, he's brilliant. And his longevity and the way, we look at his record, it is tremendous. So those two are the two that sort of, two good guys, both in the 60s who are doing quite well.
That extra 5% just love.
And then a third one. Jeepers, there's loads of good handlers, isn't there? There's loads that would. It's like when you're at the international, you're like, I'll just go and get a brew. Oh no, there's, if you got England, so you got like, oh no, I'm just gonna watch Ben Smith, and it's Ireland. Oh, McCloskey's on, and then Scotland. Oh, Fraser's on, and Wales, not them two. Rob Ellis is on, and then Gethin or Arwin or
There's a few of what you class them elite handlers.
But I would say say that again, sir, right?
There's a number of what you call them elite handlers, but then there's just below that there's a unbelievable amount of top class handlers.
And like Dowie now, he's surely up with them. His record recently is absolutely brilliant. And like Brownlee, I think Brownlee is tremendous at running a dog. He can get, like when he ran Mo, obviously I knew Mo well because he come and use sweep and that, and he had Gus and Mo, and they were quite different, but he got, he won the Supreme 2 years running with them, and he was featuring all the time, wasn't he? And now he's back again with some young dogs in the Supreme and that. Vicar, he's really good to watch.
Yeah, he's
my mate Gillen, flipping heck, he can put a run on when he's going, and there's loads. Yeah, there is loads who are good, but so I'll go for one. Let's go for one a bit different. Let's go for Oscar Murguia in Spain because he's Sergio's mate.
Yeah.
He's really good.
Yeah. He was on my trial before the Worlds.
Yeah. Yes, of course he was. Yeah. Let's put him in because he'll like that.
He's a good handler.
And I'll missed out loads of names there. There was loads of good handlers that you struggle to not go and watch. Yeah.
No, funny you should mention Neil there. He's coming on soon, so
I hope you've got a bleep button.
I was about to say I was talking with him. I was talking with him the other day. I said I'm looking forward to this one because they
good.
I don't know why. I know I've spoken to him many times, like, but yeah, you get that impression that he could very quickly just say whatever he's thinking. Like he'll not say what pleases somebody. He'll say what he's thinking.
He'll say what he's thinking. Absolutely.
Which I think that's the best way. Like,
yeah, he's a top man. Yeah.
And 3 dogs then from now. This sort of last lot of years, or number of years, I should say. People who don't know what that means.
Key's the best. Well, certainly Key and Kevin are the best partnership I've ever seen.
Yeah,
definitely. So it's easy to say Key's the best dog I've ever seen, but it's the partnership, isn't it? It's Kevin and Key are just tremendous. Becca, I thought Becca was lovely. You know, I mean, I don't know if that's modern or old now. I can't work it out, but let's go with modern. She was great to watch. Then again, after that, there's been so many nice dogs. I thought Michael Gallagher's cat was a nice dog when I saw him. I didn't see loads of him there, but I thought he was a nice dog. And then dogs. There's some nice dogs that maybe never make it to the bigger level that we don't get to see, isn't there? So it's hard to sort of think of just one or two. And it's not.
There's lots of dogs out there.
It's not because I can't think of them. It's just because I don't want to sort of. Let's think. So we'll definitely go with Key and Becca, and then Alice Cap was in Alice Cap. Like again, it's the partnership, isn't it? You know, they were a great partnership. Eamon Lawless's old Bill. That's the guy downside who won the national. That was a really good dog. Oh, I'll tell you what dog I really liked was Dick Roper's Tom. I thought he was a great dog, and that's probably an old dog now, isn't it? It's 20 odd years ago, probably. But he was a really nice dog.
He bred quite a lot too, didn't he? He got quite a lot of bitches, did he not? Like,
he did, and then he a bit like Sergio's dog. He had prostate problem. Sergio's dog, obviously, it's a nice dog, but he had prostate problem and got gelded at 7 or something like that. So maybe didn't get used right through as much as he might have done. But he was a really, in my head as I remember him, he was a really nice type of dog. I'm sure I'm missing dogs here. Like, I'm not gonna lie. She's gone to bed, so she shouldn't need to. Meg's Katie's a really special bitch, but I get to see her a lot. But she's, and I'm not being biased to that. She's just a really good.
A good bitch.
But there's some dogs, like there's a guy near. Oh, I'll tell you what a dog that maybe other people wouldn't have thought of. Alan Jones at Salatin had a dog called Bill, and he got in the team maybe 4 or 5 times with him. He was I really like that dog.
Yeah.
The first bitch I got in the team with Peg, I took her to him twice, and we never got any pups. Just the Soslow would have it. He was a really nice type of dog, as I remember. Funny thing is, like, you're sort of thinking back 20 years ago, and it fades, doesn't it? Maybe I'd see it.
Yeah. But they're still there.
And you're like, it's not what I thought it was. But if they left an impression on you. But yeah, certainly. Oh, I'll tell you 2 dogs, 2 bitches I saw, and I only saw them once, but I thought they were just great bitches. I was course directing the Continental in Denmark, and this is years ago. And Joe Agner Hansen had 2 bitches, and they were old at this point, like well over 10. Like well over 10. I think one was like 13, and he was still running in the Continental. It was something like that. I'm not gonna lie, I can't remember the name of the bitches, but I can remember one of them coming from the last obstacle, and the sheep just turned on it. They were the big heavy texels. It was like a fell ground, so they weren't maybe the right sheep for the ground almost. They were struggling a little bit. So quite a few turned on dogs. And she just walked up nice and quiet, and the sheep went, she just had it on nose, and then she kept walking. Just beautiful power.
Yeah.
Bossed them, and I should remember what they were called, but they were 2 really good bitches. I just remember seeing them and thinking that. And, but anyway, I could think of loads of dogs when you start thinking.
Yeah.
Shearer's, really like Shearer's dogs. You know, when he had Bob and Cap and that, I thought they were good dogs. Yeah, Bob obviously
Yeah.
that. They were, yeah, I enjoyed watching them.
Funny, I was discussing with somebody the other day about that. I've been trying to get a pup off Shear from 2010. It's just he's that far up the country.
I thought you were going to say if you've been trying to get it since 2010, I think it's probably a bit old for training now.
They just
Maybe
a dog of his, just a dog of his in general. Like it's one of them names that you associate him like. There's like a man that you lived here. Like he's dead now, but years ago, and the people said that he never had a bad dog, and the son said, "Oh, he had plenty of bad dogs, but nobody ever seen them."
Yeah,
And it's the same as Shear. Like he probably had plenty of bads, but you always see him out with a real topper. Like,
see, I'm the opposite. I do have some good ones, but I don't let you see any of them. I just bring the bad ones out.
think of bad ones. Like, give everybody a chance.
I think I've named every dog in Britain now, haven't I? So I'll stop now.
No, fair enough. Well, tell me this then: is there a country outside of England that, whenever you're going to the international or the worlds, that you have maybe a soft spot for, you like to see do well, or?
Well, at the Worlds, definitely Spain, because obviously Sergio was there,
yeah,
and Oscar's there, and it's basically they're the team usually. So I like to see them do well. Yeah, other than that, I don't think there's necessarily a particular country. I've got friends in loads of countries, people I hope do well.
Yeah.
But I'm always looking for. It's always nice when a new dog comes you've never seen, and it comes from somewhere else, and it has that bit of something, and you want
Just
it to
catch
do
you,
well, and so it's as much like seeing a dog that has something that you like, seeing that do.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Right. Well, that's all the normal questions asked. We haven't really spoke to anybody that's been as big into the race, so I'll ask you a wee bit about the race here now. Just right. My thinking is, you obviously have you were saying there, say 8 pups a year, and you do your race and you have your one good dog. How do you start one of them young dogs? It's obviously too early to tell. So how do you go about your commands in it that they don't,
Yeah.
hit the other dog's commands?
My system's really easy. So if you imagine I've got an open dog, right? So at the moment I've got dog one. I've got 4 sets of commands. So when I've got a dog which is going to stop, I'll never put another dog on those commands. But the thing is, I only have different flank whistles. All the voice commands, all the walk-ons, everything else is the same. I just have different flank whistles. So it's quite easy. So you've got, like at the moment, let's say we've got Joe. Let's say like before I had Chrissy, we've got Jonah, and I've got I had the Jimbo dog. He was on a different set of whistles, and then Chrissy was coming up, so I put her on a different set of whistles because I wasn't sure which was gonna make it at that point. Even there's always the chance when Jonah gets injured, so I've got 2 others to go at, and I've got a 4th set as well. So I've got 4 sets of whistles. So the old pair, when I've got 2 open dogs, which are my pair, they're on one set, and then my young dogs, as they come up, I'll train them on a different set. And then it's when I start to think about keeping them as an open dog that I would think about bracing. And then it's literally just a matter of teaching them to ignore the other dog's whistles. And I teach them by doing that, I actually teach the other dog's flank whistles. I teach them that that's a stop command. So as the default place is when they hear the other dog's whistle, they slow or stop. I don't want them to stop in the end, but I want them to at least let the other dog work without them thinking it's for them. So it's quite a simple system, really.
More or less, then they have that dog, then by right as such will have maybe like 3 different stops as such, then with regards to you'll have your sit down and then the other dog's sides more or less slow off.
I'm doing this like, let's say I've got a nursery dog that's done well in the nurseries, and I'm thinking it's going to be my next open dog, and there's a racing. It'd be around lambing time that I think about doing it. It's that late, but they get used to working with another dog a little bit, when you're just working. But actually working properly, lambing time's a good time because you can just hold one on the bike and work the other and get it used to working the other. But then I'll actually start working the dog that I'm training. Isn't a brace dog, because you see, I'm in for the last 14, 15 years. 17 years thinking about it. I've always had, since I had my first brace pair, I've always had an old one sticking about. So, do you know what I mean? So it started with Roy and Tot, and then I sold Tot, and then it became Roy and a dog called Spot, and I sold Spot, and then it came Roy and Sweep, and then it came Sweep and Fly, but I sold Fly, so it came Sweep and Jock, and then Jock and Moya and Jonah. So they always stick on. So I'm only ever training one because the other dog knows what's going on. So it's just about getting that dog to ignore the dog whistles. But once it's well trained, I think I'll just start to flick the other dog's command in as a flank and make it stop on it. So as it just starts to think, oh, no, that isn't my command. Yeah.
And do you find, you mustn't do or else you wouldn't do it, but do you find maybe it would affect some dogs and not others? Do you find if you worked on the brace, would it maybe whenever you're in the singles head, maybe a dog stops short because he's used to is there a different point of balance as such then?
My dog stopped short anyway. Personally, I found it made them better dogs. Might sound a bit daft, but with some of them, I think that it makes so when you've got two dogs there, it makes the dog have to look for the point of balance even more than normal. Because if you've got two dogs coming down the field like this, right, and you imagine that you're at a normal singles trial, and there's a big draw across that field. The dog's got to be right on that draw all the time, and it's some dogs when they're in singles, it's easy for them to just flank out and then flank back, and not just, but with the brace, it's like they have to be on that draw because the draw isn't the field; it's the fact that the other dog's going to push them over the top, and I think it makes them when you flank because I only use little flank whistles to walk them on. I think it makes them a little more subtle in the flank. So rather than just sort of taking a big flank, it makes them a bit more, just makes them nudge the corner a little bit more.
Yeah, turning their nose almost.
Yeah, just enough because I think it can make them better. I think it can make them walk and because it's easy when you're on your singles, you've got to cover both sides and you flap your dog this way and you're flapping it that way. But with the doubles, it's really, if it's going well, it's easier really because you've got a dog cover both sides, and I think it can bring the things I like anyway. It can bring that out more in that I like balance and I like pace and the dog's ability to make decisions themselves. I think it can make them a bit better actually. Yeah. But don't get me wrong, that's with mine. I'm sure loads of people will tell you, "Oh, not ruin my dog for this and the other." But for my system and just with my type of dogs, so far, I don't think it's done too much harm.
Yeah. Oh, the brace is nice. Like international there this year, for example, I suppose Angie in the brace. The yo was attacking there. I suppose you used to say across the water.
That was good work. Everyone was. Yeah, to be fair, on that first day, the was it? It was Angie, Meg. Who was second? I can't remember. My brain. I've had an absolute. Meg was third, but anyway, they were all run on the first day. And was it Lauren Hinkins? Was she second? Oh, I can't remember. It's terrible. But they made it look easy, and then on the second day, it was
John McGinn. Was John McGinn running? Was John McGinn running on?
John McGinn, of course it was. Yeah, Laura was fourth then. Yeah, but those all ran on the first day, made it look pretty easy, and then on the second day we made it look like carnage. So, which is what brace can be like. So. But Angie's run was beautiful. It was.
It was just class to watch the dogs just
nipping head. Proper brace work. That's the thing we're like with. You asked earlier about would I change anything about trial, and one thing I would definitely change is that one of the judges should be a brace runner at the national, rather than just getting two last year's judges. There should be a brace runner also, because some people don't. I've had judges ring me asking, "Oh, this brace," then like in the winter before this brace. Oh, what do we have to do about it? And fair play from ringing to ask. And don't get me wrong, but I've not said to them, "Oh, you just have to put me first." It's not like that. It's just genuine talk about brace.
Yeah.
But some judges won't ask, and I've heard them laugh when they're going into. I heard one judge a few years ago laughing, is going, "Oh, I don't know what I'm going to be doing anyway because I have no idea." And I was thinking, jeepers, this is the national event. You should be at least having a. And it's now they either need to swat up on it, or why don't we just at least leave one of the judges? It's like for the last 20 years. So Tim Longton, Timothy, we lost line. He was a really good brace handler, but he hasn't had a brace team for like 20 years because he refused to run two dogs. He wanted to run a team, but he had a big passion for the brace. He watched it and he knew what was going on. He did judge the odd one, but he'd been better in the box every year until he had a pair. Do you know what I mean? Because he knew he understood brace running, and just I think there should always be just answering your question earlier about I think especially at the national, there'd be a place for having someone who understands brace, because there
I
are
understand
things
it.
that are a bit different. Yeah.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Right, well, tell me this then as well. You've picked out a pup. You've got a stud pup there. He's 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 16 weeks. What happens? What way do you go about it?
Well,
You're
for
under.
2 years it's got a lot easier because I give them to Meg, and
Yes.
she starts them. Yeah, no, we'll let them have a look at them quite early. That's that thing, you let a pup have a go, and then I'd rather see him sort of working a little bit. But yeah, just until actually, again, that little book of Tony Ellis, he said you shouldn't take a dog out till it's fast enough to get past a sheep.
Yeah.
And I thought, I've always thought that's pretty clever, because if the sheep run off and the little puppy can't, it's got little legs like me and it's running down the field going digga, 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 and it's not learning anything good other than frustration, is it? So I think that's pretty fair to actually start them. But we have our dogs out twice a day and they get wandered about, walks and stuff. And Meg's ace, because she'll often at a trial you'll see her with a puppy on a lead and she's getting it used to people and all that sort of stuff. I'm terrible. I'm one of those who I'll say, I'll just take that pup out. Oh, look, it's 2.5-year-old.
Maybe depends what you've been chasing to. If you're really like something, maybe make it go even quicker.
Meg's got wee legs too, luckily.
So I say it could be Usain Bolt if it was the right, the right. Yeah. Aye, so out and about in the lead, socialising trials.
Yeah.
You know what? So up to what? Maybe 6-8 months.
Yeah. Well, she sort of knocks them about quite a lot here and there, different ones. But yeah, once you got them to the stage where you can start actually training them a bit, then we'll just start them in either a bit of an enclosed pen, or we tend to use really well trained sheep and a dog. We just hold them up and get them going round. I get a stop on them pretty damn quick. To be honest, I think that's a really good place to know if a dog's trainable, if you can stop it. Because like when they're working, sometimes puppies they're working away, aren't they? Because they're just thinking, "No, I've got to do this." And then you come along and go, "Right, now you're going to stop," and they can go, "Well, I will then, and I won't work again." It's like to get them stopping, to be able to take that amount of pressure or training or making them do. It's like if you start trying to stop them and they go a little bit cold or a little bit looking at you or sniff or and that starts you, they're probably not ready yet. And you go, "Oh, well, that's fine. You just work away. I'll let you out." But you're not ready. And I think that's generally quite a good yardstick of when they're ready for training, if you can stop them. So we get a stop on them, get them on the hands, and then train them. I mean, it's like. Really.
And would you say a young pup's up to 6 months? Would you take them out, say, individually once or twice a week and just work with that pup, or do they just run about with older dogs? Or
a bit of both. Yeah, a bit of both. I don't want to say we've got any hard fast rules, because it's like depends what time of year it is. Kids, it's like at the moment it's dark at 4:30 and it's not that easy, is it? But in the summer you can go out for a walk at night. Oh, we'll take them pups with us, or
But you'd like to take them out one-on-one, say twice a week, roughly 10 or 15 minutes. Just work out. Just socialize.
Do you mean just like messing about walking and sort of thing?
Oh, I'm not even near sheep.
Actually working.
Just been out with you.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to say that it was that often. They're out twice a day, but with other dogs as well. But but see, it always used to be the thing, like when growing up, it always used to be the thing that if you were like going to do a wall gap, I always take that pup with me. You take it and you go wall in, and the pup would be playing, and it'd come, and then it get a bit closer, head be a stone, and learn to get out of the way if you throw into them. It's like they learn stuff all the time, don't they? But it's all
like handed later on.
yeah, exactly that. Yeah, they start ducking and weaving really well. Yeah. But it's just like, I don't know. I wouldn't be able to tell you that we do anything particularly stringent. Like I said, Meg is far better at messing with pups and doing all that sort of stuff. But once they're keen, and once they're sort of, you're actually actively training them. Yeah, I try to take them out at least 4 times a week. Yeah.
No, fair enough. So right, that's the dog chat finished. I wouldn't be an expert on them, but I like them, and I think I have a fair eye for a decent one. The Swale deals, you have a right batch of Swales. Like they're not bad sheep at all. They're fair decent.
Look, I'm very novice at breeding Swales. I love Swales and like breeding my females, but I'm nothing compared to some of the good breeders now.
But
But
they're not bad sorts. They're not
oh,
bad sorts.
thank you. Yeah, I like them, and they seem to
Uh,
sell all right. They seem to sell all right, but I'm nothing compared to all right. Yeah.
yeah, not funny. The Swales aren't really that big a thing over here. But I think they're great sheep. Like I love them, and they're quiet too. Like I see me lambing Swale hoggets. Well, I don't even. The only time I ever lamb them is if I see that they're lambing and I'm in the field, and I do it just in case something was to happen. But like they just lamb away themselves.
When you say a hogget, do you mean like a 2-year-old or a
First
1-year-old?
first lammer.
A 2-year-old though, yeah.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
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 We call it a hog till it got sheared, you see, so we call it shearing.
Even over here, like the way people don't understand some of the words that I'm
Yeah,
probably using. Like we say,
just making sure. And I just wonder
we
if
say yo.
hogs.
We say yo over here. Obviously, your way it's you, or we would say.
No,
Actually,
I'd say yo.
you do, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say yo. Yeah.
And there's people in England there too that say yo, isn't it? There's you, yo, and yo.
Yeah.
And even I was listening to that Fed by Farmers podcast the other day. They were saying about people here in Ireland and Northern Ireland, whatever, they would say cheviot. Across your way, it's cheviot. Like it's.
I'd say cheviot.
Aye, there's different terms. So aye.
Yeah. But that's
So I say any people listen to this, if you're from Ireland, you're probably okay. If you're from outside of Ireland, you'll probably have to.
So it is.
I imagine. Well, that's maybe I was going to say the Capeller words. They're maybe not. they're wondering. But I had to maybe piece it together. Like, but no, I thought your Swales looked brave sorts. Like and how many of them would you say you've X number of ewes? Would you run 80% pure and 20?
No, we're roughly half and half. Yeah. So we've got like this year we put 340 swales to the top, and slightly more have gone to the Leicester to breed mules.
Yeah.
But we're keeping more mules. I know when you came over to visit us, we didn't have mules, but we're keeping more mule yos ourselves. However, I'm just thinking they're getting a bit big, and maybe our ground can't take it. So probably up the swale numbers But Meg's set off with a small Dales bred flock, and we've got 60 of them now as well.
Yes. Well, are you working with the crossing least or the traditional or?
Yeah, crossing ones, yeah.
Cross or dead on. Well, the next question is why have you not got any of mine yet?
I'm just waiting on about October the 25th next year for there to be a knock at my door, and someone's brought me some tups from Adam like that.
But yeah, you're saving hard for the big prize.
Exactly that, yeah. Yeah.
You'll not have to save too hard.
Because I'll need another one because they'll have all died by next year anyway. Because that's what they do.
Well, that's what people say to me. Although, in fairness, I'm not just saying it because they're mine, but I don't have too much of a trouble of ones I sell dying. Not in the first year anyway. Maybe the second year. But people say that's the good thing with the Leicesters. If you sell a Texel or your Beltex or whatever it may be, or the boys aren't maybe coming back to you for 4 or 5 years to buy another tip.
Yeah.
Well, if you're Leicesters,
yeah,
maybe there's a market there.
my next door neighbour, I used to work for him, and really good guy. He has really good Leicesters. And I remember one day I went down, he was devastated because his best tuck lamb had walked up to a gate, put its head through the gate, and then walked sideways into the down metal, and literally itself, and it stood down just dead. All it had to do was put his head about 2 inches that way, and that sums Leicester's up.
No, they're something else. But even at that, there's people have them, but they maybe don't look after them right. Like if you anybody that's selling Leicester tups at the main sales, whether you want to admit it or don't want to admit it, they're going to be well fed with meal.
Yeah,
they're going to be well pumped. And then there's people who bring them home and throw them out the side of a mountain and no meal. They're chasing after ewes, and they spent 2 months on the side of a hill. The rain's lashing down. It's hard to expect anything else other than
death.
The 4 feet being in the air, like, because the Texels aren't good out to that sort of hardship. Generally, they're down in the lower land, and your Shirleys, whatever. Like, but I noticed your Swales were decent sorts anyway. Like,
I think whoever decided to start putting Leicesters across Swales at some point, because the mule is a tremendous sheep, but the mule, whether it's a Cheviot mule, the North England mule, Scotch mule, they seem to be, they improve whatever they put on, don't they, the Leicester?
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen Herdwick mules, different looking ones slightly, but they look a bit like a mule, and they milk well, and it seems like you stick a Leicester across for all its problems and how much we laugh about how terrible they are as having the ability to die, they improve what they put on for a commercial sheep. Like they really are.
There's other breeds trying to replicate them or whatever, as a maternal ewe.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they're trying to build their own brand and sell it. I don't know if they truthfully believe that they are better than the mule, because the mule.
What happens is, you see, and it's happened. It opens over a cycle. It's like the mules are popular, but then all of a sudden a breed, like it was Clins, wasn't it? 20 years ago, everyone was going for Clins, and Clins were going to be the next big thing. And then these Clin people suddenly started to have a few more mules back in the field. And it happens all the time.
Yeah.
I think I wonder at the moment whether the Cheviot mule will overtake the North of England, because they are getting really popular.
They're very popular.
They are getting really popular. So they may be, but it's still a mule out of it. It's still a lesser on a hill sheep, isn't it?
That'll be going back. That might make the traditional then come back again, because the traditional took some beating over here. Like they're not very many about.
The Cheviot mules were really good price at the sales this back end. Yeah,
They are nice. They are nice, but personally, I like to see some bit of colour on them. But I can see the Cheviot mules are lovely. But I like that wee bit of colour. It's hard to beat a nice pen of North England or Scotch mules, I think.
Yeah, it's just hard to get. The thing about them Cheviots is that they match so well, don't they?
Yeah,
they're all, it's like, it's like
a piece in the pot.
Yeah, try to get your North of England's up. You get 8 in the pen, and you're like, I need 2 more, and none of them match. And you're like, oh no, I've got 8 again. Whereas you get Chivy, it's like, can I find one with white ears and a white face? And oh look, they're all like that. So he's just got size, I guess. But
they're handy or matched.
Yeah.
But no, that'll do well, Ricky. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And good luck for next year. Hope all goes well with the trials.
Yeah, well, hopefully we've had a tough year, one reason or another this year. So hopefully it goes a bit better next year. So, all good. Yeah, thanks.
I'll tell you, don't hit any buttons here in case you hang the whole thing up. I'll work on that. All right. Thank you.